Hi folks, today we're going to continue with factoring, but this time the game is going to change a little bit because we're going to have a number in front of x squared. So it'll be ax squared plus bx plus c. Now the game doesn't change as far as our signs go, because right now this first one has plus plus, so our binomial will start out as plus plus. The 5x squared, on the other hand, breaks down into 5x and x, because you take the factors of that number as well, just like you will on the back end of the problem with c. So 5 only breaks down into 1 and 5. So the 5x squared will break down into 5x and x, and then the factors of 6 will break down into 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Now it's a matter of what goes where, which partnership are we going to use, and keep in mind, like I said, that 5 is going to come into play now. So your partnerships, 1 plus 6, obviously that's not going to add up to 17, nor is 2 plus 3. But keep in mind we have this partnership with 5. So now we can put our numbers in and take a look at how the 5 affects this whole thing when we go to FOIL it back out to check. We have 5x times 3 would be 15x, and 2 times x, so plus 2x. And really that's all I do, is I check the outsides and the insides of FOIL, and the outsides and insides together would give us that middle term. So 15x plus 2x does give us that 17x. So there, we factored it, it's done. The next one, 16x squared minus 40x plus 25. So look at our signs, we have minus plus, so our binomial will break down into minus minus. The 16x squared has a lot of different breakdowns that could happen. It could go 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. So when that happens, where you have a lot of different possibilities, my recommendation for that is to pick the pairing that is closest together. So in this case, 4 and 4. And just try it. Sometimes you're able to see this without trial and error, and other times you're not. So the 25 will break down into either 1 and 25 or 5 and 5. So I'm going to give the 5 and 5 a try and see what that does. Again, all I'm going to check is outsides and insides to get that middle term. So the outsides would give us negative 20x. The insides would give us another negative 20x. So negative 20x minus 20x gives us that middle term right there of negative 40x. So we did it right. So 4x minus 5 times 4x minus 5. And keep in mind, when we have that same thing twice, we want to get into the habit of calling it 4x minus 5 squared. Here's another example. We have 3x squared plus 20x minus 7. So this time our quadratic says plus minus, so inside of our binomials we're going to put plus minus. The 3x squared breaks down into 3x and 1x, and then the 7 breaks down into 1 and 7. So now you really have to think which one is going to go where. So we'll put the 1 here and we'll put the 7 here, and we'll see what happens. So when we go to check, our outsides will give us negative 21x, and our insides will give us plus 1x. So negative 21x plus x is negative 20x. And if you take a look up here, we want a positive 20x. So the sign is just opposite of what we need. So if that happens to you, the fix is very simple. All you really need to do at that point then, the numbers are right, the signs are wrong. So just change the signs. Now we have it factored perfectly. This next one, you need to learn to recognize the difference of two squares. 25 is a perfect square, x squared is a perfect square, 36 is a perfect square. There's a minus sign in between. So that is difference of two squares. So the difference of two squares signs are automatically plus minus in the binomials. 5x squared will break down into 5x and 5x. And the 36 will break down into 6 and 6. And there it is. It's done. Here we're going to factor out a monomial first. Now, basically what a monomial is a single term. So we can factor out that monomial right away. So we're going to look at both terms in this case, and they're both divisible by 5. So we can take a 5 out right away. All right, this is the opposite of distributive property. So now we kind of ask a series of questions. 5 times what would give us 5x squared? And the answer to that would be x squared. Minus, now again, 5 times what would give us 45? And the answer to that would be 9. So now we factored out that 5, that monomial, and we took something that wasn't factorable before into something that is factorable with difference of 2 squares. So now we can continue on factoring this thing apart further. So difference of 2 squares is automatic plus minus. The x squared is x and x. And then the breakdown of 9 would be 3 and 3. So there we have factored it completely. As soon as you take out this monomial, it just continues on the more you keep going down your factoring. So here again, we'll give this one a try. We've got a 6, a 14, and an 8. All of them divisible by 2, so we can factor a 2 out. So now, 2 times what would give us 6x squared, and that would be 3x squared. Minus 2 times what would give us negative 14x, that's going to give us minus 7x, plus 2 times what would give us 8, and that's going to be 4. So now we can continue on with this into our two binomials. So minus plus, our signs will be minus minus. The 3x squared only breaks down one way, and that would be 3x and 1x. And then the 4 can break down a couple of different ways, and the breakdown for that would be 4 and 1. Now, I think it's important to make sure that we check this. So outsides would give us minus 3x. The insides would give us minus 4x, which does give us this middle term right here of negative 7x. So it's factored. This will be our last one, negative 5x squared plus 20x. Now if we look at this, we have a 5 that could divide the 5 and the 20. Now, if you'll notice, we have a negative sitting here in front, so let's get that out of there too. So we can factor out a negative 5. And we also have, each term has an x, so we can factor out an x. So now, negative 5x times what would give us negative 5x squared? And the answer to that would be x. Negative 5x times what would give us a positive. So we really have to be aware of the signs in this, so we're going to have a minus here. And then 5x times what would give us 20x? And the answer to that would be 4. So now it's broken down, it's factored as far as it can get. There it is. All right, here's your assignment, page 263, numbers 3 through 29 odd. Good luck. We'll see you in class.